And now the good news here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm Barbara Jean, and I am so happy to be here with you today. Happy Friday, everybody. And the weather seems to be starting to warm up a little bit. So who knows? Maybe spring is in the air. Guess it depends where you're living. Well, let us begin with a little spring story coming out of Nebraska. The fears that Nebraska's annual spring migration of sandhill cranes could be the avian equivalent of a super spreader event have been completely abated as a record-setting stopover in Nebraska of thousands of birds was enjoyed without any sign of a bird flu outbreak. Yay, no bird flu. 750,000 cranes migrating north to their spring habitat landed in the Platte River in Nebraska. The number is deemed an underestimation, but you try counting more than 700,000 birds. That might be a challenge. Fears that the highly contagious new strain of bird flu H5N1 would carry over to the cranes from livestock have been abated as the birds are beginning to move off again without a single dead crane being observed. Yay! Aside from the mini celebration of bird flu's absence, the real celebration that this year was the largest on record for the sandhill crane migration. How cool is that? That is good news. Well, here's an interesting story. I personally love horses, and Kazakhstan is doing some work to keep these wild horses happy and healthy. With the imminent arrival of 150 horses to the Kazakh steppes, the future of the world's last non-domesticated horse species is poised to bolt. Following up on a successful introduction of 5 mares and 2 stallions from Berlin and Prague, Hungary's Minister of Agriculture announced the country would be shipping 150 horses to Kazakhstan in order to safeguard the animal's future from disease and inbreeding. You got to watch for that for sure. Around 6,000 years ago, at an unspecified place on the Eurasian steppe, of which Kazakhstan makes up a major component, human beings domesticated the horse. It changed history forever, but not more so than the ancient residents of Kazakhstan and related topographies who used them to roam, trade, raid, and conquer for millennia. From the first day until now, all individual species interbred themselves more or less out of existence, with the exception of these Przalski's horse, which is why its return is so exciting. Kazakhstan has become something of a conservation and rewilding champion among low and middle income countries. It has been in the process of restoring major members of its populations, including antelope, deer, and these horses. It even plans to reintroduce the tiger by welcoming members of subspecies related to the Turanian tiger, which went extinct over 70 years ago. In the fall of 2023, 2 cats from the Netherlands arrived in the large nature reserve, and this year another 5 are expected from Russia. So they're doing good work to preserve some great species, and these horses, oh, they're so beautiful. Okay, so going out partying tonight, anybody? Maybe, possibly? Well, here's something for you, especially for women to consider: a stir stick to detect if your drink is spiked. Yes. So, yeah, that could be great. After 12 years of research and development, a team of Canadian chemists have created what could be the ultimate tool for detecting if your drink has been spiked. More discreet and accurate than anything else on the market, the simple, innocuous-looking drink stir comes with a tip that will change color if exposed to any of the common drugs used by predatory bargoers. Called Spikeless, the stir was envisioned by a team of brothers at the University of BC and can detect common drink spiking drugs like GHB, ketamine, and otherwise odorless and tasteless within 30 seconds. Dr. Johann Foster, associate professor of chemical and biological engineering, and his brother Andrew came up with the idea in 2012 and predicted the tool could be carried around with one's phone, wallet, and keys, or provided by venues upon request. Anywhere there's a bar, clubs, parties, festivals, there's a risk. And this could make a difference, a huge difference, especially for women. People have tried cups, coasters, straws, even nail polish to detect these drugs. Our device is more discreet than existing alternatives and doesn't contaminate the drink. So your drink will still taste smooth, if that's what you were looking for. All right. So here's a really cool story. This is a swimmer, a blind woman, to swim the English Channel. That's a long swim. A Paralympic gold medalist has become the first blind woman to swim across the English Channel, and she finished under time. She said that being blind has left her feeling isolated, but thanks to swimming, she has a newfound confidence and hopes her feat inspires others. 49-year-old Melanie Barrett took on the challenge after falling in love with open water swimming. She swam the channel from Shakespeare Beach in Dover to Cap Gris-Nez Beach in France in 12 hours and 20 minutes, faster than the expected 14 hours, and she described it as a dream come true. My life has been filled with challenges because of my blindness, and it often led me to feel isolated and unsure of myself. Melanie, now a special needs assistant after winning 2 gold medals, 2 silvers, and a bronze in the 1996 Atlanta and 2000 Sydney Paralympics, said she never thought it would be possible to achieve something like this. You know, when you put your mind to something, it's amazing. It's quite remarkable what can be accomplished. So never say never. All righty. Well, moving right along, we're going to have a little commercial break here, and then we're going to come back with some great stories to help just get you ready for the weekend and get you happy and excited and knowing that news can be good. You're watching the New Thought Media Network and the good news here this Friday evening, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Science of Mind Archives, your gateway to spiritual wisdom. Join us for our grand opening gala. Experience a weekend of inspiration. Enjoy a ribbon-cutting ceremony, a gala dinner and workshops, plus a labyrinth walk and town hall. Connect with a community of seekers. Explore spiritual teachings and resources. Find your path to personal growth. Join us from April 24th to 27th. Lodging options are still available. Visit our website www.scienceofmindarchives.com for more details. Please RSVP by March 15th. Featuring Reverend Jesse Jennings, musical inspirations with Karen Drucker, and the spirit of Ernest Holmes. Come celebrate our new home at Unity Village, Lee's Summit, Missouri, and please visit www.scienceofmindarchives.com.
And we're back with more good news for you. I'll tell you, this is definitely the place to be on a Friday night. So, 6 expert parenting tips for getting closer to your kids. Try changing up these routines. A therapist has revealed 6 parenting tips for building a stronger connection with your child. Melinda O'Neill, 37, an associate licensed professional clinical counselor in Pleasant Town, California, has been a therapist for 1 year and child counselor for 7. O'Neill, also the mom of a 6-year-old son, focuses on connection, empathy, and personal growth as key components of effective parenting. From fostering independence to encouraging emotional intelligence, here are her top tips for parenting. Become a fan. It's easy for parents to tune out when their child is talking about video games, dinosaurs, or the latest pop star. But O'Neill says engaging with their interests is crucial for bonding. Um, Maria Montessori, a renowned physician and educator, also always said, follow the child. O'Neill summarizes. That means embracing whatever they're into, whether it's excavators, the alphabet, animals, or trains. She acknowledges that parents may not always love their kids' taste in music, but she encourages them to listen anyway. Listening with them means you know what they're listening to. Plus, it's a great way to bond. If they want to go to a concert, you're the chaperone. Even if you don't love the artist, bring some earplugs. It's about showing interest in their world. Rephrase your questions. Parents often say, how was school today? Only to be met with one word response, fine. Ask specific questions about their day. Instead of how was school today, try, did you see your friend today? Or what was the funniest thing that happened? Make communication a two-way street. Own your own mistakes. Well, as a mother of 4, I know this one is very important because we do make mistakes. Kids are always watching, and O'Neill says parents should be mindful of the behaviors they model. Yes, very important. If you make a mistake, own it, she exclaimed. Say, I got really frustrated and shouldn't have reacted that way. Next time, I'll take a deep breath. By doing this, parents show kids that mistakes are a normal part of life and that they can be handled with accountability and grace. Try new things. While it's important to follow a child's interests, O'Neill says also stresses the value of trying new things. Structured activities beyond the park, like cooking classes, new hobbies, or different restaurants, help expand your kids' world. And if they're hesitant, encourage them anyway. Remind them you just might like it. Let them be emotional. Oh, this is an important one. Emotions can be messy, as is life, but O'Neill says learning to sit with them is crucial for emotional intelligence. Feelings can make us uncomfortable, but if your child is experiencing one, let them be present, sit with them in their sadness, their frustration, or their joy. She notes that emotions naturally cycle every 7 minutes. Oh, that's a good thing to know. Parent yourself. Ooh, yeah. The best parenting starts with self growth. One thing I see every day is that many parents weren't taught how to manage their own emotions. So as adults, we're almost reparenting ourselves. Very, very important. Very important. So parent yourself so you can be a great parent to your child. What a great, great list. I love that. And if you want to check it up and read further on it, just go to goodnewsnetwork.org and you can find that story there. All right. Well, here's a great little puppy story. Valerie, a little wiener dog, survived 18 months in the Australian bush and made it home. Interesting. On an island south of Adelaide, a strange creature has been creeping through the bush. A long cylindrical body and long snout flanked by floppy ears are dead giveaways. But this wiener dog named Valerie isn't lost anymore. After almost 18 months of living wild on Kangaroo Island, local police are poised to get her out of there and reunite her with her owners, Josh and Georgia. In 2023, the pair were enjoying a camping holiday on the island with their miniature Dachshund Valerie, who weighs no more than 8 pounds soaking wet. The pampered pooch was used to pink sweaters and toys, treats and ramps to help her get upstairs, and so the couple thought it would be safe to leave her closed in her cage with plenty of pleasures while they went fishing. But within minutes of casting their lines, another camper told them that Valerie had escaped. run underneath a van, and then bolted into the bush when some people tried to coax her out. We spent the next 5 days searching for her through the bushland, hiking up and down big hills and camping overnight. They had packed only one pair of clothes each, and amid the stink, the rain, and the lack of any sign of their beloved pooch, the two reluctantly gave up and returned home. Meanwhile, on the island inhabited by large venomous black tiger snakes and wedge-tailed eagles that prey on the native wallabies, Valerie's fate seemed sealed. But it seems there's more wolf than wiener in Valerie than meets the eye, and a survival instinct definitely kicked in that has seen her make it through 500 days of wild living. Oh, I bet she had fun. Sounds like it would be fun. All right, so the world's smallest otter. It's just a little tiny thing found in a Nepal river and hadn't been cited for over 186 years. So, though officially classified as vulnerable, no credible sighting of the Asian short claw otter, the smallest species of its kind, has been made in almost 200 years. So, when forestry officials in Nepal found an uninjured juvenile otter at the confluence of two major rivers last November, they never imagined that their actions might determine the fate of the world's smallest otter. Fortunately, they sent images to the scientific community in the region, who realized that the animal had reappeared, having not been seen since 1839. The sighting of an Asian small clawed otter after 185 years is a remarkable discovery for conservation in Nepal, ending concerns that the species may have been extinct in the country. The sighting highlights the need for detailed study of the status of this species in Nepal and urgent implementation of conservation initiatives. Well, that is really good news to see that little one. They've found them, they're back. Well, continue. Lots of animal stories tonight, I'll tell you. Little rats. Oh my God, you gotta love a rat, right? Well, because of their super sense of smell, for most people, a rat is at least an unwelcome guest and at worst, the target of immediate extermination. But in a field clinic in Tanzania, rats are colleagues, heroes even. Far from a trash bin dwelling New York City street rat, the African giant pouched rat is docile, intelligent, easier to train than some dogs, and for East Africans, the performer of life-saving tuberculosis diagnosis every day. 400,000 new cases of tuberculosis were estimated to have been prevented by these rats, whose sense of smell would make a bloodhound take notice. As the number one killer among infectious diseases worldwide, many of those 400,000 can be translated into lives saved. Not only are we saving people's lives, but we're also changing these perspectives and raising awareness and appreciation for something as lowly as a rat. Because our rats are our colleagues, and we really do see them as heroes. How cool is that? Rats that, I don't know, can detect a disease. Well, they say that dogs can do that too sometimes. You'll hear of somebody who's been bit by their family dog and then cancer's discovered or something. So you never know. Interesting. Okay, this is a sweet one. This is the Angel Eye camera, which lets parents of premature babies check in on the neonatal ward whenever anxiety strikes. Probably strikes fairly often, not being able to be with their baby. One in every 10 women in the United States will experience the premature birth of their child. A heroic organization is helping these women keep two eyes on their baby, even if they're miles away. Called the Angel Eye System, developed by the firm of the same name, it's a camera with a remotely accessible 24-hour feed that's mounted via a boom arm onto any of the beds or tables an infant may be placed on. It allows the parents who may not always be able to stay with their child to keep an eye on them whenever nerves or separation anxiety strikes. Thanks to advances in medical science, premature birth is a challenge that can be reliably overcome. A modern neonatal intensive care unit contains batteries of devices for ensuring that development can continue on the right track for a long and healthy life, even under these terrifying circumstances. Yay, that is really good news. Well, this is one little smart girl. She joins Mensa at the age of 13 after scoring higher than Albert Einstein. And no prep. A 13-year-old girl has been invited to join the Mensa Society after getting the maximum score on the IQ test, higher than Albert Einstein and Stephen Hawking. Sophia Cott Arcuri has been accepted into the club after achieving 162, the highest possible score for a girl of her age. Proud mom said she always knew Sophia was smart, but didn't expect her to ace the test without any preparatory work. She just walks around throwing random facts at you, her mom said, adding that she has been top of her class from the moment she started school. When you think of someone of high intelligence, you'd think they'd be quite geeky, but really, she's a normal girl. She's got loads of friends, is bubbly, and loved by everyone. The Mensa High IQ Society has been around for over 100 years and focuses on welcoming those extremely gifted minds among us into a space of collaboration and camaraderie. The American chapter of Mensa boasts 50,000 members of the over 150,000 located in 90 plus countries worldwide. Very, very cool. And she does look just like a normal kid, right? 13 years old, hanging out. I like it. All right. And our last story today is kind of funny and kind of interesting. Neighbors that have lived together, lived next door to each other for like 40 years or something, celebrated their 101st birthday on the same day. On the same day. Can you imagine? I wonder if they knew that when they moved in. Two longtime English neighbors are celebrating their joint 101st birthday, born on the same day in 1924. Josie Church and Anne Wallace Hedrell lived side by side in Oxford since the 1980s, and the great grands have celebrated their birthdays together for years. I think life has gone quite quickly, said Josie. I don't think we've thought much about the time passing. It just passed. But both women threw themselves into volunteering and creative activities after their husbands died, and the women have been fast friends ever since. Anne was very busy when she was younger, so was I, always very productive and creative. She did a lot of painting and tapestry. She was always busy, and I was always busy doing something else, because that's the sort of life we live. Anne studied English at St. Hilda's College, Oxford University, and served in the Women's Royal Naval Service as a radio mechanic during the Second World War. After graduating, she worked as a lexicographer for the Oxford English Dictionary. I don't know what a lexicographer does, but I was always interested in words. It was my trade. She was very proud to receive a medal for her service from the Royal Navy last year, described as long overdue by the representative who gave it to her. Josie has trained in nursing for 3 years at Preston Royal Infirmary and remembers the introduction of the National Health Service. In those days, Josie said, you had to live on campus and you couldn't get married, and it was very strict. People wouldn't put up with that sort of life now. Her time in nursing during the Second World War included a chilling experience of caring for SS German soldiers she described as very difficult patients who didn't wish to be taken care of by us. She moved with her husband to Oxford so he could continue his degree with the war after the war. Oxford was very strange because each college had a large intake of older people who'd gone through the war and were taking up their university places. So you'd get the old men and then the young 18-year-olds coming in from school. Yeah, it's kind of how it would work. They don't remember the moment they discovered they had the same birthday, but they especially enjoyed the celebration of their centennial year arranged for 2024. We live on the most amazing road. It's like one big extended family, said Josie, mom of three wonderful children. Everybody knows everybody else. If you have a problem, you just give a shout and somebody will come. I think we're lucky. I don't know if it's luck so much or if it's just their radiant personalities that connect them to the people in their neighborhood. I think maybe the radiant personalities. Um, she goes on to say, when asked what tips they might give for leading a long life, Josie concluded, just live. It seems obvious, doesn't it? You do what seems to be needed doing, and then you do that, and then something else takes its place. You just go from one thing to another. We don't engineer our lives. I think they're just engineered. Okay, they've just engineered us. Pardon me for getting that all backwards. Anyway, thank you so much for joining tonight. You're watching The Good News here on the New Thought Media Network. We'll be back again next Friday, 5 o'clock Mountain Time or 7 o'clock Eastern. And we're here every week, filling you up with good news, starting your weekend off right. And so I invite your friends to watch. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And we look forward to seeing you again next time. You've been watching The Good News here on the New Thought Media Network. And be sure to consider donating to the New Thought Media Network. We are a charitable organization and we do great work. So join us, won't you? Have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Spiritual Center, Kitchener, Om Center for Spiritual Living, La Mesa, Satya Center, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for making New Thought Media Network a place to be. Please come be you. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.